And welcome back to Coast. We're going to take your phone calls. Joy, what do you think 2012 will be like for us, Joy?
Well, I think there's going to be a major transition. I mean, everything is pointing toward that, and I do think that, if everything holds true as to what my research says, that will be the beginning of a really tribulation period in which we will be seeking a Savior, and that person's going to step up to the plate and be the person. So we're in for, I'm afraid to say, some pretty bad stuff. But
necessary nonetheless?
Yes, that's part of the agenda. Just like what I've said before, that it's been hidden and it will be continued to be hidden or tried to be kept hidden as much as it can be before it's actually, brought out. But by that time, if the chips are in place and they have us corralled where they want us, it will be almost impossible to escape. It will be just like it says. You won't be able to buy, sell, or trade.
All right, let's go to the phones. We'll start with Bill in LaPorte, Texas. You're on Coast to Coast. Hi, Bill.
Hey, George. How you doing?
Good. Thank you.
Very scary show. And Dr. Joy, I was listening to you, and when you said something about the what President Obama said about the computerizing all the medical records and stuff.
Yes.
Really got me thinking, because my wife, she's been in the hospital off and on for about the last 6 or 7 years. She's legally blind, an amputee, and possibly going to be a double amputee. Would that be something they would force on people, the computer chip?
I think that's going to be an eventual thing, and I think that's something we need to be very aware of, because I think the moment that you do not accept what they're going to push down our throats, that is the point that, you have to make the choice of whether you're going to allow that to be put in your body or not. And
I think they will eventually, Joy, force it.
Oh, it'll definitely become a forced issue. I just pray that,
they'll start off by saying how convenient.
The good people out of here, and we don't have to deal with that. If we have to deal with that, then we're going to have to stand up and say we're not going to take it.
Would you get chipped, Bill?
Personally, they would have to kill me. I'm not going for that. But my wife, they're performing so many different procedures on her, left and right, and I'm not so sure that they wouldn't try to trick her into doing something like that.
I guess if we had a system like this, it sounded like President Obama was basically saying we wouldn't need prescriptions anymore. It would be all electronic, that you wouldn't have to worry about trying to read your doctor's handwriting.
Oh, yeah, the doctors I've talked to regarding my wife's case, they said, it's like a dream come true to them, because it would speed everything up and reduce the cost. And I guess it's like everything else. You only hear the good side of things, but there's always a downside, too.
Well, it's no different than really the vaccination programs that are being inflicted upon children and really old people that may be causing some things, happening with their bodies. And that could be a part of the population decrease and things like that are being done behind the scenes. So I think that you need to be just really cautious, because, again, the chip that VeriChip can put into you is about the size of a grain of rice.
Yeah.
And the new ones that they're coming out with will be much smaller and much tinier than that. So, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is an agenda, and it's laid out for us that these things are going to come to pass. So, all I can tell you is to be on guard, to be aware, and to keep your eyes open, because I think that they are trying to keep us blinded. They're going to make it look like it's the greatest thing since peanut butter, and a lot of people are going to fall for it. And I just think, you're ahead of the ball game because you're aware of it, and just be aware of everything that your wife is given and what she takes and everything.
Okay, next up, let's go to Reggie in Atlanta, Georgia, first-time caller. Hey, Reggie.
Hey, George. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia, and good evening to you, Dr. Joyce. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing up there in Atlanta?
Well, we're getting crazy weather. One day it's hot, next day it's cold, and I don't know what to wear when I go outside during the day.
I know today was like almost 80 degrees down here in South Georgia, so it was kind of a nice day.
Yeah, it really was. I've been listening to the entire show tonight, and while there's some things I can agree with, there's some things I can agree to disagree with. But my question to you is twofold. One is, you spoke about the pineal gland earlier. I went to Morris Brown College, and I majored in theology and philosophy with a minor in pre-law and paralegal studies. And one of the things that I did learn in my biology class was the study of the pineal gland. Now, how does race factor into the dynamics on a global level when you're talking about the Illuminati and this attempt to have a new world order under one specific power structure? And the second part of the question is, most of the ancient cultures, specifically Babylonian, Sumerian, Aztec, Mayan, Inca, and even Egyptian, all spoke about planet Nibiru and the Anunnaki. How can you factor in their version of how they were treated by the Anunnaki, and how does that differ from your version of it?
Well, the pineal gland is something that I think has been used all the time. If you go back and you look at the Egyptian pharaohs, and we were talking about the right for the rules of kings, the pharaohs always wore these little things that were over the front of their foreheads. And specifically, if you'll look at King Tut, you'll notice that there is the striking cobra, and then, of course, there is the vulture that's on the left side of it, which we know vulture meaning death. The cobra in itself is striking just like the pineal gland. When it does, it's in a vibratory state. If you look at the pyramids, and especially the sarcophagus, that sarcophagus is tuned to F sharp. If it's struck, it will vibrate. If you are in a vibratory state, if your body is in a vibratory state, and I go into this in great detail in my books, that if you are over an oracle site, which is typically a node of the electromagnetic grid, and you are in a vibratory state, the pineal gland is opened up. That allows communication ability of the pineal gland, which is a type of quartz, and which I believe is a transmitter and a transreceiver in your head. And that the ancients had capabilities to be able to communicate with the gods. But after a particular period of time, for some reason, that capability stopped. And now that all of the modified foods and some of the different kinds of things that we're being taught to allow, like, for example, cell towers all over the country and things like that, that the ability to use electromagnetic waves to be beamed at us to open that particular area up, and then to use these RFID chips implant into your body to open up that pineal gland, it can jam it open where you would not have choice. And so while it seems that I'm a total opposite with it, I'm actually running parallel to it. I'm trying to tell you why that's a danger to us as humans, because then you don't have choice. It forces something on you, and you don't have that choice. But it originated, from the fact that we had the pineal gland in our heads. We all have it. It's actually a workable eye in a lizard, and it's only, that's the only being that it's workable in. But the third eye is definitely there, and it does have a unique ability. And if you do very much research on it, you'll find that most of the things that's been written about it are very quietly talked about. They're not out in the open. And most of the biology classes and the ones that I had going through school, they told you as little as they could about the use of that gland. But the research that I've done now tells me that gland is probably going to be what will be the connectability to the chip and to the cell phone towers and all the ability to track and keep that pineal gland open and eventually take away your freedom of choice.
Joy, do you think the power brokers will try to use their high science for ethnicity purposes?